The Venezuelan government unveiled new evidence of the destabilizing terrorist act planned by the far-right opposition with the support of the United States administration. The Honduran prosecutor's office has reported the arrest of at least 3 individuals accused of involvement in a political conspiracy to assassinate former President José Manuel Zelaya and prevent the 2025 general election. And Yemen's armed forces attacked Thursday Israel's largest airport, Ben Gurion, in support of the Palestinian cause. Hello and welcome to From the South. I'm Alejandra Garcia from teleSUR studios in Havana, Cuba. We begin with the news. The Venezuelan government unveiled on Thursday new evidence of the terrorist action planned in the country by the far-right opposition with the support of the United States administration. The Minister of Interior, Justice and Peace of the South American nation, Diosdado Cabello, declared authorities have seized a new arsenal of explosives, including over 100 electronic detonators, in the northeastern state of Anzoátegui, prompting further in-depth investigations. According to the ongoing probe, the explosives would have been used in planned attacks on oil facilities, hospitals and main arteries in the densely populated cities. In this regard, Cabello recalled foiled plans in Plaza Venezuela in Caracas, as well as in the Monumental Stadium in Maturin in the state of Monagas.
I repeat, the oil companies cannot have more than 50 kilograms of explosives. To have more than 50 kilograms of explosives is already suspicious about its use and its commercialization. It is our responsibility as government to guarantee the peace and tranquility of Venezuelans, and in this case, in the clear case of this explosive, and taking into account the people that are registered as owners of these companies, we can be established their bad intentions.
This Thursday, President Nicolás Maduro highlighted the first pedagogical Congress of Bolivarian teachers as a powerful grassroots educational movement. During the closing ceremony, Maduro stressed that with 44,000 representatives, the event marks Venezuela's first social constituent process aimed at transforming the country's social, economic and educational structures. The Bolivarian president also pledged to move beyond outdated union bureaucracies toward new movements that shape a new society. He said that public education has expanded with more than 90% of school enrollment and 85% of students in public schools despite years of sanctions. During his speech, the president also referred to what he described as ongoing external disinformation campaigns against Venezuela. The Venezuelan Youth Parliamentary Network condemned Thursday the new aggressions by the United States against constitutional President Nicolás Maduro and the Venezuelan people. The group accused the United States government of implementing imperial policies and stressed that the allegations against the Venezuelan president lacked legal grounds and seek to undermine the sovereignty and independence of the Bolivarian nation. On the other hand, the second vice president of the Venezuelan National Assembly, America Perez, reiterated her unconditional support for the head of state and the Venezuelan constitution. Venezuela hosted the international seminar Fidel Forever as part of the program of activities to mark next year's the 100th birthday of the historical leader of the Cuban Revolution, Fidel Castro Ruz. The two-day event is held at the Simón Bolívar Theater in Caracas on August 14th and 15th and aims at highlighting Fidel Castro's political, social and cultural legacy. The event is attended by social movements, international representatives and the Venezuelan Foreign Minister Iván Gil. The seminar is the beginning beginning of an extensive program that starts now to mark next year the 100th birthday of the historical leader of the Cuban Revolution. The Spanish government has asked for support from the European Union to fight a wave of fires that have forced the evacuation of more than 6,000 people. The Spanish Interior Minister Fernando Grande Marlaska detailed that the request includes 2 Canadian planes to fight fires through the civil protection mechanism. In Castilla and León, one of the most affected areas by the fires, at least 1 dead and 7 injured have been reported so far, with 4 of them in critical condition. The risk of the fire spreading is increasing due to wind gusts and the drought that is hitting the northwest of the country.
Let me give you the latest. Yesterday, Spain asked for the assistance and activated the civil protection mechanism for the first time ever for the forest fires, and we quickly mobilized 2 rescEU planes that were stationed in France, and they are expected to be deployed today. Greece activated the mechanism 2 days ago in response to Swedish rescEU helicopters currently in Bulgaria are expected to be deployed. And as you know, our pre-positioned firefighters are joining national teams around Europe. So overall, the mechanism has been activated 16 times during the current season, and we are in mid-August. So this is already equal to the total amount of activations during the whole summer season last year.
At least 32 people died Thursday in a remote Indian-controlled Kashmir village due to flash floods caused by torrential rains. According to top disaster management official Mohammed Raj, rescue teams scouring the devastated Himalayan village of Koshositi brought at least 100 people to safety, while initial estimations suggest at least 50 others were still missing. India's Deputy Minister for Science and Technology, Jitendra Singh, said the floods were triggered by a cloudburst in Jammu and Kashmir's Ghositi area and could result in substantial casualty. Some of the rescued people were reportedly badly injured and were being treated in local hospitals. According to experts, say cloudbursts have increased in recent years, partly due to climate change, while damage from the storms also has increased because of unplanned development in mountain regions. The United States government doubled on the attacks against Brazil by withdrawing visas to national officials involved in the Mais Médicos health collaboration program with Cuba. Through a communique, the U.S. Secretary of State Marco Rubio announced the action, which constitutes another attempt against the Cuban project. Mais Médicos brought 15,000 health professionals to attend more than 63 million people in 4,000 municipalities of Brazil affected by a shortage of medical personnel. In this context, the Brazilian Minister of Health denounced the measure as unjustifiable and assured the program will survive Washington's restrictions. And now we have a short break coming up, but first remember you can join us on TikTok at teleSUR English, where you'll find news in different formats, news updates and more. We'll be right back. Stay with us. Welcome back to From the South. The Honduran prosecutor's office has reported the arrest of at least 3 individuals accused of involvement in a political conspiracy to assassinate former President José Manuel Zelaya and prevent the 2025 general election. Attorney General Joel Zelaya confirmed the existence of a criminal plan to violently disrupt the democratic order and force President Xiomara Castro to leave office early. Zelaya explained that the evidence includes intercepted audio recordings, technical analysis, and expert reports, which, according to the prosecution, linked the accused to a wider conspiracy. The head of the public prosecutor's office added that the charges could be extended to other individuals and reiterated that the institutional objective remains to guarantee fair and democratic elections.
The evidence we have obtained, and which are in the hands of the judicial authorities, confirm that these individuals are involved in a criminal conspiracy to attempt on the life of the former President of the Republic, José Manuel Zelaya Rosales. This attack is not an isolated incident. It is part of a larger plan, according to their own statements, to overthrow the government and then provoke the early departure of the current President Xiomara Castro and prevent the holding of general elections.
In this regard, the former President of Honduras, Manuel Zelaya, condemned the criminal plans. Through his account on the social network X, the former Honduran leader said, "It is confirmed that there was a plan to take my life in 2009, and Zelaya also stated the audio recordings reveal a criminal conspiracy to overthrow the government of Xiomara Castro, highlighting the perverse intentions of dark sectors seeking to sabotage the electoral process and carry out the assassination planned since the 2009 coup. Now they will not be able to achieve this either, because we are protected by the people and the blood of Christ." In El Salvador, human rights organizations have denounced the mistreatment of inmates at detention centers, as over 430 prisoners have died pending due process. Precisely, the organization Humanitarian Legal Relief unveiled the deceased detainees did not receive an appropriate process for their alleged crimes, which constitutes a violation of human rights. In addition, the victims' families denounced various acts of torture and mistreatment at the centers. According to data from the Cristosal organization, 153 inmates died in state custody between March 2022 and March 2023 alone. During the 2 years of state of emergency imposed by Nayib Bukele, dozens of them showed signs of violence. The Mexican government apprised Thursday the reduction of poverty and inequality in the country due to a more even distribution of wealth across the nation. During her daily press conference, Mexican President Claudia Sheinbaum highlighted that the nation's poverty was reduced from 41.9% to 29.6% since the previous administration of President Andrés Manuel López Obrador, a figure that she stressed represents more than 13.4 million Mexicans out of poverty in only 6 years. Sheinbaum affirmed it was a major achievement of the fourth transformation and demonstrates that the model works. She also assured that her government will continue with policies to strengthen social justice and minimize poverty rates. In other news, U.S. President Donald Trump ordered a federal operation to evict the homeless population in Washington, D.C. within 24 hours. The U.S. President announced that homeless people in the capital city will be relocated away from their provisional settlements as part of his announced crackdown on encampments. On the other hand, social organizations condemned the decision and affirmed that there are better ways to address the problems of civilians who are without a safe place to live. They also questioned the Republican government's commitment to relocating them to safe areas. In Brazil, thousands of students demonstrated in the city of São Paulo in defense of public education. The demonstrators gathered on the Paulista Avenue in front of the city's Museum of Arts to express their support to public education and national sovereignty. The students expressed their dissatisfaction with the dismantling and privatization of schools, measures that they say are aimed at generating profits for the state of São Paulo. The mobilization was organized by high school and university students organizations across the country and are part of a national mobilization with simultaneous rallies across the nation. And we have a second show break coming up, but before we invite you to visit our Facebook page at teleSUR English, there you'll be able to watch our top stories, special live coverage and much more. Follow our page and activate the notification button to stay up to date on the world's most recent events. Fun show break, don't go away. Welcome back to From the South. Yemen's armed forces attacked Thursday Israel's largest airport, Ben Gurion, in support of the Palestinian cause. The Yemeni government emphasized the success of the operation and informed that it was carried out with a hypersonic ballistic missile called Palestine II. It assured that millions of Zionists flew to shelters and affirmed that operations will be intensified until Israel stops the genocide against the Gaza Strip. Yemen is also carrying out attacks on Houthi trade with Israel in the Red Sea, the Gulf of Aden, and the Arabian Sea. Israeli authorities have moved to approve the construction of thousands of housing units in the West Bank as part of a new illegal settlement project in the occupied Palestinian territory. The announcement was made on Thursday by the Israeli far-right finance minister Bezalel Smotrich, who stated the move aims to bury the idea of a Palestinian state. For this, he vowed to greenlight the construction of over 3,000 homes in a settlement that would connect Jerusalem with the illegal Israeli settlement of Ma'al Adumim. The settlement would effectively divide the occupied West Bank into northern and southern regions, and the plan, which has yet to receive a final approval, has been denounced by the Palestinian Ministry of Foreign Affairs, which called it an extension of crimes of genocide, displacement, and annexation. The death toll from Israel's genocide in Gaza now exceeds the 61,722 civilians, mostly women and children, while the number of wounded has reached 154,000. In the last 24 hours, medical sources in the coastal enclave confirmed the death of 8 Palestinians, including 3 children, due to hunger and malnutrition caused by the Zionist regime's aid blockade. In addition, health authorities reported 21 civilians were killed in Israeli strikes and 1 body was recovered from the rubble, while 185 people were wounded and transferred to hospitals. Russian President Vladimir Putin held a preparatory meeting with senior officials ahead of the upcoming summit with his U.S. counterpart Donald Trump. The Russian leader called on the country's top officials, together with ministerial representatives, to discuss the negotiation process about the Ukrainian conflict. The head of state mentioned that permanent and sincere efforts are being made with the U.S. administration to stop military operations between Moscow and Kyiv and to reach agreements that benefit the parties involved. President Putin also emphasized that he hopes to create conditions for lasting peace with Ukraine, Europe, and the whole world. In Russia, at least 13 people were injured in a Ukrainian drone attack on a residential area in the southern city of Rostov-on-Don on Thursday. As the Moscow-Washington summit approaches in Alaska, attacks by the Kyiv army against civilian targets in residential areas are intensifying. According to the interim local governor, Yuri Silusar, several apartment buildings on 2 of the city's main streets were damaged in the strike. In the aftermath, the authority also informed that at least 2 of the wounded are in serious condition and were transferred to a medical center. In a similar event, 3 people were reported seriously injured after a drone strike in the city of Belgorod. On Thursday, 84 Russian servicemen were returned from territories controlled by the Kyiv regime. At present, the Russian servicemen are on the Republic of Belarus, where they are being provided with the necessary psychological and medical assistance. In the coming weeks, all released army men will be taken to Russia for treatment and rehabilitation in medical institutions of the country's defense ministry. As a result of the exchange, 84 war prisoners of the Ukrainian armed forces were also returned. In Sudan, around 2,500 people have died of cholera in what it is considered its worst outbreak of the disease in recent years. According to the Doctors Without Borders organization, more than 99,000 suspected cases of the disease and 2,470 cholera-related deaths have been reported in the African nation since July 2024. International charities have warned that since the spread of the disease is no longer contained within Sudan's borders, it might exacerbate similar outbreaks across the region. Sudan has been engulfed in deadly violence since the civil war broke out between rival generals in April 2023. As a result, its population has suffered mass displacement and disease on top of the bloodshed. And like this, we have come to the end of this news brief, but you can find these and many other stories on our website at telesurenglish.net and join us on social media. We are on Facebook, X, Instagram, Telegram and TikTok as well. For Telesur English, I'm Alejandra Garcia. Thank you for watching.